Hey everyone, Michael here with Hello Cupcake It's Me, and today is the Saturday check-in. It is June 22nd, 2024, and thanks for hanging with me. If you haven't done so already, hit like and subscribe and that little bell notification icon to let you know whenever I update. And then make sure you head on over to podcast.hellocupcakeitsme.com to check out the podcast updated every Thursday. And head on over to hellocupcakeitsme.com to give the blog some love. And make sure you check out my upcoming book, Carpe Diem Scroto 365 Daily Affirmations, scheduled to be published November 2024. So, without further ado, here we are. In my true Saturday fashion, literally just rolled out of bed. It's going on 11 o'clock in the morning, and I wouldn't even be awake right now unless my phone hadn't been blowing up and my cat hadn't been singing the song of his people. But that aside, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you happen to see me, hello, and thank you for being here. So the last few days, if you've tuned into the podcast or caught the Wednesday video, I've been doing a lot of spring cleaning the last couple of weeks. For the last 73 hours, I really haven't done shit around the house. And all day yesterday, I spent devoted to my MacBook Air. And check that bad bitch out. If you don't know who this is Magneto from the X-Men, one of my favorite chaotic neutral guys. I absolutely love him. My friend Samantha made this sticker, and I think she did freaking amazing on it. So when you open up the MacBook, damn, the apple starts glowing. And I upgraded it to Sonoma. Yeah, the newest OS. So that was pretty awesome and kind of an adventure. Didn't go as fast as I would have liked for it to have, but still pretty awesome. This is an older MacBook Air. I think this is a 2015 or 2018. So by all rights, you're not supposed to be able to put the latest OS on here. But I went online and I found a video that said install the latest OS on your device. Followed the fairly simple, straightforward instructions. Created myself a boot disk installer. This is a 64 gigabyte thumb drive. So, yeah, I downloaded all the programs, put it onto the computer, followed the steps, and I now have a Mac OS that is current, and I am able to download stuff onto it. I got GarageBand on there, I got iMovie on there, and I downloaded VLC Media Player because that's my absolute all-time favorite media player. I know a lot of people like Winamp and stuff like that, but the one thing that I was not able to get on there was my podcasting stuff. But I went ahead and I created a shortcut to the Spotify for podcasters, and I don't know if I'm going to be utilizing it for the podcasting or not. I'm really kind of up in the air about that right now. And I also need to get a an adapter so that I could use one of my microphones on that. So I got to play around, see what needs to be done and what doesn't need to be done. And what else did I do yesterday? Oh, and then my sister and her boyfriend, they went out camping, and the campground is about 15 miles from where I live. So I drove out there last night and hung out with them and did the whole campfire thing. But I was only there until about maybe 9:30, and then I came home and turned on my anime and started watching that. Right now, I am in the process of watching Hunter x Hunter, and my God, I thought Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z was dialogue heavy, or monologue heavy, and that their fight sequences took forever. Jesus Christ on a cracker. It seems like you no sooner get into the episode and it's already over with. And like one fight sequence lasted, I would probably say 10 episodes. And then the one like fight sequence that was really getting geared up for literally lasted 3 episodes. And it was like not even a competition. Like the good guy just used up all of their power and beat the shit out of this bad guy and then had to be hospitalized. And I was just like, really? You got me all like worked up for this? But anyways, so if you're a Hunter x Hunter fan, the 2 fights that I was talking about was the one between Pito and Gon, and then the chairman and the king. Um, I felt like the king should have died in all of that, but at the same time, I feel kind of gypped in the way that they ended the king's story. So whatever. Um, so enough of that for those of you who are not anime people. Um, the other thing that I'm watching is on Sundays is Interview with a Vampire, the TV show. I am so freaking thankful that I gave this that TV show a chance, because at first and foremost, I am a huge Anne Rice fan, especially her vampires and her Vampire Chronicles. Those are my books. The very first book that I ever read without having it be like part of a school assignment or whatever, and that I read for pleasure, was The Vampire Lestat. And that was because my cousin Desiree was reading it, and I asked her if I could borrow the book, and I read it. And I didn't realize that I was reading it out of order. So I read The Vampire Lestat first, and then realized, oh, Interview with a Vampire is the first one. Oh, I freaking love Interview with a Vampire. And so after having watched Interview with a Vampire basically on a loop to the point where I can monologue the entire movie, I went through and I read Interview with a Vampire, which filled in so many of the blanks, and then read all of the books from Interview with a Vampire clear up to Lestat and the Realms of Atlantis or something like that. So that's 20 something books. And, you know, there again, at that time in my life, I did not have the appreciation for books that I do now, as I'm trying to become an author myself and have this manuscript that's done and waiting for it to like filter through all the different hands that need to touch it and work on it. Um, I just like, you know, it's mind-boggling that this unassuming woman sat down and created this timeless story that wasn't your typical vampire story, and brought to life such depth of character that you feel like you're walking the streets of New Orleans and smelling the night blooming jasmine and the hot burning sun of the Gobi Desert and the razor sharp pebbles of the sand as Lestat buries himself, and the smell of the library when David Talbot's walking through the Talamasca, and just all these little instances that stick out in your mind, and it's like, wow, that came from this woman's freaking imagination and created such a world that I feel attuned to and akin of. So, anyways, yeah, that is such a good program. And at first, if you've watched the Brad Pitt Tom Cruise movie, that's the Louis and Lestat that I know. And throughout the entirety of the book, Louis and Lestat are written as white, um, aristocratic type people because Louis was the owner of a plantation. Uh, Lestat was this rich, princely person, and so when the TV show came out, they changed the characters around, and they played a lot around with the storyline. And so like they gave the vampire Armand powers that he never even had, and they made Louis black. And um that was one of the things that I had taken issue with, was a lot of the things that Louis and Lestat did in the books was very white, out of rich white people stuff. And so watching how they translated Louis into a black, basically pimp, and a guy who was known around town for his exploits or whatever, and how he was still powerful for a black person of that time period, was really interesting to me, and I really do appreciate it. And um the best thing I can say is, like, it's a retelling of the story of Louis's life from a more mature Louis, versus when Interview with a Vampire had taken place, Louis had only been alive for maybe 100 years. In this um, time frame, or when this story is taking place, Louis has now been alive for almost 200 or 300 years, and so it's a lot. It's really interesting. Sorry, went on a tangent there. So all of that to say that I now have a better understanding and a better appreciation for books, and gives me more ideas as to what I want to do with my own book, as well as future books that I may write. I've already been kicking around the idea of doing 2 more books. I know I don't even have this one done, and it's causing me like so many gray hairs. It's not even funny. But one of the books, well, actually, I have 3 books total, that 3 books total that I have started on, and a 4th book that I still want to write. The 4th book is going to be another mental health type book, and it's going to be about the toxicity of growing up with toxic people, and learning how to move past those transgressions, because a lot of people talk about, like, well, I grew up in this kind of a household and my parents did XYZ, and so that's why I've done XYZ. um but dealing with my own biological parent who is still active in their addiction in their 70s, I can understand, and I have a whole new perspective, and it's something that I need to really explore, because I feel like it might help somebody else. I have another book that I'm working on that's more of it's a novel called Confessions of a Vintage Murderer. And it's this 88-year-old man who decided to sit down at his typewriter in the attic of his house and start like um, cataloging his life as an accidental serial murderer, and just all of the things that led from his very first kill to where he's at now in his 80s, typing up in his attic. And done a lot of research for that book. Like, I have a stack of paper like that thick of um, just factoids from that time period. Um, like, it takes place from about the 1930s all the way up to present day. And so, like, I've done a lot of research about street names and businesses and radio stations and TV reporters and stuff like that who were prominent in that time period, that would be talking about, like, this string of murders that were happening across the nation or whatever. And at one point, I actually had Google Maps opened so that I could calculate out the route that the person would need to take in order to get from their job to this murder site and back, and having to go through and, like, look at old city planning guides and stuff like that. So I've done a lot of research on this particular book. The other book is a bunch of short stories that I'm going to compile into one big book. And then I have another one that is more of a spiritual book, and that one I'm not going to get into too much right now, because I don't like to talk about spirituality and politics and stuff like that on my platform. So, but I think that one's going to do really well, especially with the information that I have on the subject of this particular spiritual path and stuff like that. So, um, I'm going to take a lot of what I've learned about this particular book and then use that to apply to all the other subsequent books that may come along. Uh, I've got probably 40 different saved files on Google Docs, on my phone, and yeah, a bunch of other stuff. So, um, Tuesday, I have a meeting with the PR team, and we're going to be talking about, like, the next steps and what's to come, and the next couple of events that we need to do to get funds. Currently, right now, I'm sitting at about $217, and I need at least $3,000. So we got to kind of ramp things up. Also, because, we're going into the summer and my deadline is November. And actually, my deadline is October 20th. I want everything said and done by October 20th so that I can have it submitted and printed by November 5th so that I can have it out and about for sale for the holiday season, Black Friday, and the New Year, that whole New Year's New Me shopping experience. So I'm probably going to start doing pre-sales here in September and just kind of go from there. But yeah, that's what I got going on so far. Um, the other thing that I'm doing right now is, and I think I talked about this in my Wednesday and in my Thursday updates, is I'm doing the mushroom coffee thing. And there's a bunch of different companies out there. There's Rise and there's a few other ones, but Rise is the one that is the most popular. I can't justify paying $30-something for like a small bag of mushroom coffee when I made the same exact thing for less than $20. I have a mushroom powder that has all the same mushrooms that Rise has, and I have instant coffee that I had 70 packages of it. It's like the little instant serve, like 1 cup coffees. So I have 70 packages of those, but then I also went out and bought some instant coffee. I had a coupon for it at Kroger for I think it was like $10.99, and my coupon took it down to $6. So I paid less than $10 for the mushrooms and less than $10 for the coffee, and it's the same exact thing. I'm feeling all the different. I'm starting to feel the benefits of it and all that other stuff. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I'm really kind of excited about that. And I have a friend who has the actual Rise coffee, and I need to see if I could get her to brew me a cup. Like, I'll make her a cup of mine, and if she makes me a cup of hers, type situation, and go from there. So, anyways, about the only other thing that I got going on today is I need to do some more cleaning, but I don't think that that's going to happen anytime soon. It's probably going to be later on this afternoon type situation. I was thinking about going to the farmer's market and getting some fresh veggies and making something up for dinner utilizing the fresh veggies. So yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys go. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, put them in the comment section down below. Follow me on all of the social medias, and I will talk to you later. Bye, guys.